In every continent in the world, diabetes continues to increase. In Australia, we think about 100,000 people per year are developing diabetes.
Diabetes is an insidious disease, and it results from the pancreas failing to produce enough insulin, or any insulin, to allow you to control your blood sugar levels.
Well, in the 1970s, of course, people with diabetes didn't have a long life. The teaching profession would not employ a diabetic. The government was loath to employ people with diabetes. There was a stigma against being a diabetic, hence a lot of people with diabetes didn't tell anyone.
I received a call from Mr. Kellion. He had obtained information of my concern about diabetes and that services needed to be improved in this country.
Claude's son died of a complication of diabetes, and Claude was quite a wealthy man. I would say in about his 70s when I met him.
There's an order in which we should all die. Parents die first. Now, Claude Kellion didn't have that privilege. But how did he respond to it? Through generosity, through vision, through trying to make the world of diabetes a whole lot better than his son had.
Mr. Kellion realised that the answers come from diabetes research, and he said, "My son died within a few weeks. I need to do more to assist the persons with diabetes in Australia in the future."
So the Kellion Foundation was established in 1974 with funds donated by Mr. Kellion, and the aim was to fund research and education into diabetes.
Over the past 45 years, research has created a much better life for the diabetic, and this is a huge advance, but it is still a long way from what we would call a cure. This is treating a problem in another way.
Well, I think I managed it okay. I was diagnosed when I was 18, but it still means that I'm worried about whether I might go blind or whether I'll lose a leg or a foot. I think about that a lot, and it really has dictated the way in which I've managed my diabetes. I've been very strict in some respects, and that's had implications.
Diabetes is the condition that I think takes the most self-management of all the chronic conditions. For example, this morning when somebody with diabetes got up, they would have to check their blood glucose level, think about what sort of breakfast they were going to eat, count the carbs in that breakfast, then think about were they going to ride their bicycle to work or were they going to do the gym, and did that mean they then had to change the medication that they were taking? And so that's an enormous amount of things that people have to do just for breakfast. The person with diabetes is looking after themselves 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every day of the year. They don't get any rest.
We know the challenges with diabetes are the complications associated, both what's called the microvascular, the small vessel of kidney, eye and feet complications, and then the macrovascular, the ones particularly involving the heart and creating risk of stroke.
I think we've seen the real benefits of investment in research in many areas of medicine. We can see this, for example, in hepatitis C, which was essentially a death sentence and now can be cured thanks to research. It would be fantastic to think that similarly type 1 diabetes one day will be a curable disease. A diagnosis might mean just taking tablets for a couple of days and then you return to normal. And that would be the vision of the Kellion Diabetes Foundation. Without money and investment into research, this would not be possible.
The Kellion Foundation itself is providing seed money for important research. The money that Kellion puts forward ensures that research goes on. Without it, the essential other pieces of a research project may not get up, and then the research would not go ahead.
Claude Kellion is part of the past, but his work that he did back then has enabled the work to go on today. His legacy should never be forgotten.